Shalom, everybody, from the holy city of Jerusalem. Welcome to today's class. We will continue our study of the book Inner Space by Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, and we are analyzing chapter 2. We have a section called Free Will, and that's what we're going to be talking today. What is free will according to Kabbalah? How do we understand free will? Is there such thing as free will? We will analyze a little bit about what Rabbi Kaplan wrote about it. I just want to mention as well that this is the simplest level of understanding within the Kabbalah. But there are levels and levels of understanding according to the depth of the analysis or what should be revealed to a person. So, Besrat Hashem, without further delay, I will start reading these the paragraphs, and I will start explaining a little bit about what is the concept of free will according to the understanding in the words of Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan. It says the following: Free will. One of the best analogies of the relationship between God and the world is that of the soul and the body. In a sense, we can call God the soul of the universe. Of course, the analogy is far from exact, since God cannot be compared to anything in creation, but it does serve the useful purpose of further clarifying his relationship to the world. For example, we are told, just as the soul fills the body, so God fills the world. Just as the soul sees and is unseen, so God sees and is unseen. Just as the soul dwells in the innermost chamber, so God dwells in the innermost chamber as well. Actually, we see here a special case of the paradox of creation with regard to man and the soul. The soul is our direct connection to spirituality and thus to God. It is our true self without which we would be an empty shell. In this sense, it must totally fill our body and permeate our being. On the other hand, the soul must be hidden and unseen so we can function as free and independent beings and not be overwhelmed by God's existence. This is the parallel paradox of man's free will. This is in connection to what we explained in the previous class. We mentioned a little bit the concept of tzimtzum or contraction, in which, according to the understanding of the Kabbalists, God hid himself to be able or to allow creation to exist. Now, let me explain something. A person should not take this literally and think that the creator made a hole in himself and this is what actually took place. No, this is simply an understanding for a person to have, let's say, an idea of what or to understand how the process of creation took place. But Chas v'shalom, that a person would think that there is such a thing as a hole in the creator is, there's any change in the creator. Not such a thing could happen, as we're going to explain, and the Rambam explains this, and all the philosophers, everybody agrees, God didn't change, neither before, after. There's no such a thing. He's ends off, no beginning, no end, no change, no nothing. So there's nothing we can even say about him. These are all from our perspective to be able to understand what took place at the beginning of the creation of the universe according to the Kabbalists, the Mekubalim. So it says here that therefore, for us to have free will, the Almighty had to hit himself for us to function. So he explains what he means by this. He says, we can appreciate this more if we imagine ourselves constantly standing in God's presence. How would we behave if God were to reveal himself to us? Right? It says, would we really be free? If we were constantly aware of God's existence, could we go against his will? Right? When there's someone who is constantly watching, looking at you, the question if we really have free will or not. God wanted us to bear full responsibility for our actions and full credit for the good that we do. He wanted human action to be a matter of free choice, rather than compulsion. It is for this reason that free will is one of the most essential ingredients in all creation. From this, we derive that the Creator wanted to give us a gift. And the gift that He gave us is the gift of free will. It is written in the Torah that the human beings was created in the image of God, Tzelem Elohim, the Almighty. The only will that rules the universe is the will of God, the will of Hashem. No other will. Only His will stands. In a similar way, for us that we are, let's say, some form of creation that resembles the divinity, we also, therefore, must have certain or some sort of what we call or refer to as free will, although we know that ultimately the only will that takes place in the whole universe, in all the worlds, in all the creation, is the will of the Almighty. Right? These are concepts a little bit difficult to understand. I'm just trying to clarify it for those who are watching to have a clear understanding of what we're talking about. So it says the following: but there is a much deeper way of looking at the concept of free will. We have said that the greatest good that God could give is Himself. We spoke about this in the previous class. The purpose of creation was therefore to give man a chance to come close to God. So basically, let me try to bring an example. What the Creator is doing by giving us free will is basically giving us a level or a vote or an action. I could define it as a level of trust. There's a creation, and He say, you know what? You are not a machine. You are not a robot. You are endowed with the divine soul. Therefore, I will give you what we define as free will. Why? It says here that the ultimate level is God to give Himself to us. But in order for us to get to that level of close relationship with the Almighty, we need to be able to choose freely. Do I want to get closer to God? Yes or no? Do I want to grow spiritually? Yes or no? Do I want to elevate, raise my own level of consciousness? Yes or no? So basically, the Almighty has such a high level of faith, emunah, on us human beings that He said, you know what? I'm going to give you the choice. Either you choose the right path, or you can choose something else. We know that this is what the Torah calls, there is a road that takes you to life and growth and prosperity and connection and spirituality and higher level of consciousness and connection with the divinity and spirituality, and there is a road that takes you to death and ultimate damnation and destruction. So the person has the ability to choose, and it is precisely in that level. This is what we call free will, and this shows as well the emunah, the faith that the Creator has in His creation. He says, you know what? I trust you. And I know that you will take the right decision because you have a portion of me in you. And that is called the neshama, which is a spark of the divinity. He said, I know there is a divine essence in you that when you go deep into sin, into averot, into doing bad things, into negativity, into horrible things in your life, I know that deep inside every one of you, there is a level of kedusha. There is a holy neshama that eventually is constantly and will go back to the source. Is yearning to connect with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, with the Almighty, with the Creator. Is yearning to connect with the source. And this is what we call a level of connection. And this is when the Almighty is able to, He's given Himself to us. But we must open ourselves to receive the divinity. Otherwise, the connection won't take place. You know why? Because He gave us the free will to choose, to decide if we allow the divinity in our lives or if we say no. This is what we call free will. This is what we call self-determination. Do you understand now the level or the great gift that the Almighty gave us? It's unbelievable. Everything is on us. So either when good things or bad things happen to a person, don't complain and say, oh, it's someone else's fault. It's God. And why is God doing this? And why is God allowed this to happen? Why is he blah, blah, blah? Why do you blame someone else? Everything is on you. You have the ability to choose. You have the ability to raise up to a higher level. You have the ability to make the connection. But you as well have the ability to take the wrong path, the wrong direction, and say no and go. And so everything it depends on your sechel and your free will. This is the greatest level of the trust that Hashem gave us, that we define as free will. This is the way I will put it in my own words for you to understand. But don't think that he just left us, without any direction, even though he gave us the free will. No. He gave us a great gift in the meantime. He gave us the Torah. The Torah is like a manual. It's like the book that we look and we find what are God's laws, instruction, directions. You can define it. You can call it many names. But basically, the idea is that here we find the instructions on how to develop this close relationship and how to get close to the divinity. God is telling us, the creator, the Ein Sof, if you do this and this, you're going to get close to me. And we are going to work this relationship and everything will be amazing. Or you can just do something else. But you can see that not only he gave us the free will, he wants this relationship to take place, and he also gave us the instruction, the Torah, for us to walk on the right path and to make this relationship happen, because ultimately the greatest gift, as we have learned, that he wants to give us is himself. He wants us to connect with him. It's unbelievable, the gift that he gave to each and every single human being on earth. Not only human beings, all forms and types of creation. It's unbelievable. It's beautiful. So it keeps saying the following. When we speak of coming close to God, we are not speaking of physical closeness. God exists in a realm far beyond the mere physical. When we speak of closeness to God, we're speaking of spiritual closeness, of course. But what is closeness in a non-physical sense? We find the hint of an answer in the teaching from the Talmud. The Torah states, "You shall follow the Lord your God, fear him, and keep his commandments. Obey him and serve him, and bind yourself to him." Deuteronomy 13, verse 5. The Talmud asks, how can one bind himself to God? It is not written, the Lord your God is a consuming fire? The Talmud answers that we bind ourselves to God by imitating his attributes. So from this we learn that if a person wants to get closer to the divinity, is to imitate the divinity. In the same way that we say God is compassionate, so we too must be compassionate. If we say that God is love, we also must show love. If we say that the divinity cares for others, we must care for others. We must be an embodiment of the divinity in this world. And that's how we make a connection. That's how we awaken the neshama inside of us. That's how we make the connection at a spiritual level. But at the same time, we are making our bodies as a merkabah, as a kli that is able to carry with him the divinity wherever he goes. And he is able to shine forth his light and to enlighten someone else and to awaken other neshamot so they can also make the connection by themselves. Because every human being has free will. This is amazing. So the way to get closer to the divinity is by imitating him. And we know that this is by imitating his attributes, as I just explained. The Talmud is teaching us that in a spiritual sense, closeness is resemble. Two things that resemble each other are close in a spiritual sense. Things that differ are distant. The more two things resemble each other, the closer they are spiritually. So when we speak about resemblance, we're talking about when we speak about connection or closeness, we're talking about things that resemble each other, right? This is like I explained when I spoke about this in today a few hours ago when I studied this with my friends here in the yeshiva. We said this is like in a relationship, friendship, right? How do you get close to someone, right? The friends that you have, because you both share similar characteristics, similar traits, right? Maybe you both like same things, you enjoy similar things, you have kind of similar personality, and that's why you connect with your friend or with your partner, with your wife, your husband, for example. That you were able to get married or to get into this relationship because you found, okay, wow, this person has something that is like me. There's a connection. And if he has a portion and I have a portion, then we share the same portion, we share the same energy, therefore we resemble each other, and this is called connection. And that's why you have relationship, friendship, etc., because you both share the same portion. It's the same level of energy, let's say. How do you for example, a person that is attracted to, I don't know, Kabbalah, why is that? Because there is something in you that resembles what is written in the book of the Mekubalim, of the Chamim. Therefore, you also have a portion in you of ex rabbi or ex mystical Mekubal who wrote about this. That's why you can connect with the material or with the knowledge or with the information. This is what we call resemblance, connection. We can now understand the reason for free will in a deeper sense. As we stated earlier, the good that God's plan has this destined for his world is the ultimate good, namely God himself. His plan is to give a creature, namely man, as human beings, the opportunity to draw close to him. But when we speak of giving such good, we immediately face a dilemma. God is the giver and man the receiver, and as such, they are two opposites. In a spiritual sense, they are as far from each other as north and south. Giver and receiver are exact opposites. It's not the same. Someone who gives and someone who receives is not the same thing. It's different, it's opposite. As long as man is a mere receiver, he stands as the opposite pole away from God, the giver. In a spiritual sense, man and God would then be ultimately distant from each other. Now, do you want to get close to the divinity? You must also be a giver. This is what what I explained a few minutes ago. If you want to resemble a divinity, get connected, get closer to him, you have to imitate the divinity. If God gives love, he shows hesed, kindness towards others, you have to do the same. So you are giving in the same way that the divinity gives. Right? This is the way that you resemble God. You imitate God. You resemble the divinity. In a deeper level, I could say that you are awakening the divinity that is inside you, inside each and every one of us. So it says, therefore, God arranged things so that man himself would be the creator of his own good and the master of his own perfection. As a result, he would resemble his creator and enjoy the greatest possible degree of closeness to the divine. And how do you do this? When you give, when you become a giver. In a relationship, for example, the man, he should get in a relationship thinking of giving. The same with the wife. She should get in a relationship with the intention of giving. People usually just get in certain types of relationship just thinking, oh, what can I get from someone else? What can I get from my husband? What can I get from my wife? Pleasure, sex, she's gonna cook for me, he's gonna work, he's gonna give me money, blah, blah, blah. People are thinking ultimately, what can I get? Is ego. I want for me, 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 me. I'm the most important thing. No. It says you want things to go smoothly, either at a spiritual level, you have to resemble a divinity. In the physical plane, between human beings, you have to also act the same way. When you get in a relationship, think, what can I offer? What can I give? And you must feel inside of you the yearn to give. And if both have the same intention and the same feeling, he wants to give and she wants to give, that's fantastic. Because she's going to give you and you're going to receive. Don't think you will not receive. You will receive. And you will give and she's going to receive as well. Therefore, you both become givers and receivers. But it's not only given, it's given what she needs, and she's going to give you what you need. So when you give, you are not thinking in an egoistic way, but you're thinking, I will give him what he likes, what he needs, what she needs. And if he thinks in the same way, boy, I'm telling you, relationship will be amazing, friendship will be amazing, marriages will be amazing. Because you're not thinking in an egoistic way about myself. You're thinking in an altruistic way about what can I contribute to this relationship. But if a person is constantly thinking, oh, he's the one who's supposed to give me, and I want this, and I want that, and I want... What's going to happen when he doesn't give you what you are expecting? Problems arise. Fightings, divorce, conflict. Because your ego was hurt. Because you didn't receive what you thought that you deserve. So you see that the problem of this ideology, either in any type of relationship, it's the same. For example, a person gets a new job. What are people usually thinking? Oh, how much money I'm going to make? Oh, if they're going to give me vacation, if I'm going to have a day off, if this job is it's going to give me status and prestige. People are thinking about themselves. But very few people find a job thinking, oh, you know what? I want to get into this job or this business because I really love what I do, and I'm thinking, oh, I can contribute a lot getting into this company. Very few people think that way. People are usually thinking, I want my paycheck, I want to make X amount of money, and if, okay, look at this, it didn't give me what I deserve, blah blah blah. Very few people get into a company thinking, oh, I will, I can contribute a lot, I love this, I'm passionate. What they don't realize, the people who are always thinking about themselves, that if you you change your mentality, the way you think, by you giving, you are going to receive as well. Because guess what's going to happen? That by you giving, the other, your husband, your wife, your children, your mother, your father, ex relationship, it doesn't matter, different relationships. We could put many examples here. By you giving, you are moving or touching something inside the neshama of the other person. And by doing that, you are activating the same quality, and the other person will treat you in the same way that you are treating that person. And by doing this, you are going to receive back what you gave. You do a lot of good things, you expect to get back good things. You do a lot of horrible things, you're gonna get back the same. So don't expect a different result if you're doing the same things. What you give is what you are going to receive. Now, we could get deeper here, but this is a topic for maybe another class. What happens in a relationship in which you think that you are giving a lot and the other person is not giving what you expect? Could be that at that level, it could be that you are not yet at the level in which you give unconditionally. Because if you give expecting something in reward, oh, I want to do this, and if I don't get it at this time, I want it now, then that's not really giving. You are giving with conditions. And then what happens if your conditions are not met? Then there's a problem here. When you are a giver, you give not because you lack. You are complete. You feel good. Maybe you don't even need to get into any kind of relationship, but yet there's something deep inside of you that wants to give. And when the other person has the same feeling, right? Just there's a saying in Spanish, I think in English as well, that says, do good and don't look to whom you do. Meaning just do good. Just do good to others. Haz bien y no mires a quién, we say in Spanish. So if you have this kind of mentality, then things definitely will be different. Again, this could we can get deeper. There are many questions that we could ask here, but again, this is a topic for a different class. It says the following: therefore, God arranged things so man himself would be the creator of his own good and the master of his own perfection. As a result, he would resemble his creator and enjoy the greatest possible degree of closeness to the divine. Thus, free will man is the primary and essential element in creation. Everything else created is only a means of bringing about man's closeness to God. All other created things, whether above or below man, exist only for his sake, to provide an environment where he can earn his place in a world which is all good. There are therefore two basic concepts which comprise human existence. First, man must earn his good that God has prepared. Secondly, he must receive this good. So we learn from this that you must earn good. In order to receive good things, you must have a merit. You must work for it. You must earn it. And then once you have the reward, you must have the key to be able to receive that blessing. Because a lot of people complain sometimes, like, you know what, I keep doing so much good. I do this and I do that. Look how many things I'm doing for my wife, for my husband, for look how many things I'm doing in this job that I have, and I don't see that I'm getting rewarded. Right? So if a person is doing good things, certainly that person should expect that you are going to be rewarded because there is a justice system in place. Now, this is not enough. You must be able to receive the good. It could be that you are praying for a new job. Let's say, oh God, give me. I need to get a different job. I need to make more money. I need to pay the rent. But different things, right? You pray, you pray, you pray, but you don't have the key to receive the blessing, the light that you are asking for. You are praying because you want to get married. You want to get your wife, your husband, and you pray for it. But it could be that it's there. The Almighty is giving it to you, but guess what? You don't have the recipient. You don't have what we say in Kabbalah. You don't have the kli, the container, the vessel to receive that blessing. So it's right there, but you don't have the means to receive it. If you haven't, let's say you want a new job, but you don't move from home, you don't go and you asking people, I don't know, going to companies, applying resumes, this, that. If you don't move a finger, certainly don't expect that someone will go and knock at your door and say, I have a new job for you, God send me. It could happen. There are miracles that happen, but that's not really how things work. You have to move also as well. Things are moving upstairs, let's say in Shammai, in heaven, but you also must move things down here so you will be able to receive. If you don't have the kli, the vessel, don't expect things to just materialize just like that. If you want to get in a relationship, right, you want to get married, but you don't work yourself to become the husband or the wife that you want, right, at the level that you want or you expect to, you have to become first. That person, the ideal person that you're looking for, must resemble what the level that you have. So certainly a person will get a partner that is at the level that you have. Don't expect to get something else when you didn't work yourself to that level to be able to deserve, to have the merit to get someone like you dream like, when you didn't move or did any change inside of you to reach a level, right, that will connects you to the person that you're aspiring, when you haven't changed or are at the level that you, right, require. Let's say someone wants to get married and the guy is constantly at home, he doesn't work, he's all drinking, no, right, no, there's no goal, nothing, no learning, no study, no career, no job, no nothing. This guy is like, okay, how do you expect this to then to get into a relationship? And if you do get into a relationship, you know what, the person that you're going to get is going to be exactly the way you are, exactly with the same habits that you have. And you know what's going to happen? Could be that could be also a chaos, because then you're going to see in the other the defects or the bad traits that you didn't see in yourself. And then fight and problems is going to happen because there's no direction. There's not really good, because he's not receiving any, just anything. No, he says here to be able to receive good, because a person, again, like the example I just put, you could receive, but yeah, but not what we call good. You're receiving something, I don't know, really, that is not really good for you. So watch out also, but not everything that comes into your life you have to say, oh yes, come, welcome. No. But again, all this requires a level of, mental um, preparation, readiness, different shift in the mentality, a level of consciousness, etc. So you should be able then to receive good if you yourself get to the level of what we call goodness. So he says the following: there is, however, a basic difference in environment required to actualize these two concepts. For earning his own perfection and closeness to the divine, the maximum possible challenge is required. See, you have to work a lot, you have to challenge yourself, you have to constantly not only want it, but work for it, challenge yourself, get up, work hard for it. So that's how you accumulate the merit, and you know what? This person deserves what you're asking for. Otherwise, you are not, if you don't deserve it, you will not get it. And if you get something that you don't deserve, you will lose it, because in the first place it was not supposed to be yours. And that's what happened with a lot of people that get into certain relationship or certain business, or suddenly get a lot of money, and in a month or a year they lose it, because they were not ready for such a high level of responsibility or light. Therefore they lose it because they didn't deserve it in the first place. Why? It says here you have to challenge yourself to the maximum possible challenge that is required. You have to get up to that level that you are aspiring. This in turn will result in the greatest possible pleasure of accomplishment. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, what level do you want to achieve? Regular, the greatest maximum pleasure, mediocre? You will get according to what you put in. According to the input, it's going to be the output. Such an environment must therefore be one where neither God himself nor the divine nature of our deeds is obvious. It must be a world where God is hidden and where good can only be accomplished with great difficulty. To get things is very hard. Anything in life, you have to work for it. It's not going to come easy. What easy comes, easy goes. Either spiritually, like the book is analyzing the level of connection, right, towards the divinity, connection with the Almighty, connection with the Ein Sof, with the cosmos, with the Creator, whatever you want to call him. You have to work hard, with great difficulty, great effort to accomplish something. The place where man receives good, on the other hand, must be the exact opposite. In order for man to enjoy the maximum possible pleasure from the good he has done, the true nature of his deeds must be as obvious as possible. The existence of God must also be as apparent as possible in such a world. It must be an environment where man realizes the goodness of his deeds and their relationship to God. It is for this reason that God created two levels of existence. First, there is in this world, Olam Hazeh, a place of accomplishment and maximum challenge. Secondly, there is the world to come, Olam Haba, the world of ultimate reward, where both God's existence and the nature of one's deeds are totally apparent. So we see that there are two levels. There is what we can accomplish in this world, right? Where we function and live right now in the world of action, what we call in Kabbalah Olam HaAsiyah, the world, the physical world, right? Where we live in this incarnation. This is known also as Olam Hazeh, this world. And this is where we work. This is the basically the training. And there is a world that we know as the world of reward, or also known as Olam Haba, or the world of the future. Basically, is the world of ultimate pleasure. There are different universes and different worlds in which a person will be able to get levels of pleasure, definitely. But there is a level which is the highest possible level of connection that we could get, and that's what we know as Olam Haba. That's why it says that 1 second in this world doesn't compare at all to a second in that world, which is a totally spiritual world of connection with the divinity. Definitely, even within this world, we know from the Kabbalah there are levels and levels and levels to the infinite, that a person is always able to refine and grow and achieve higher levels of consciousness, meaning higher levels of degrees or connection with the Almighty, with the Creator, with the Ein Sof. So the person always be able be to choose from what is good and the better. So it's not only good and bad, there is also good and there is more than good, and levels of connection and closeness to the divinity, and closeness and levels of reward. So in terms of spirituality, this can be compared to someone that you know that is like a well-known spiritual guide or a spiritual master or a Kabbalist or rabbi. Depends how you call it. There are different traditions. So you can clearly see the level of spirituality that a person has achieved, and that's ultimately defined as a level of closeness with the spiritual world, with the divine, with the Ein Sof, with the infinite, that clearly be seen in this world. So in that world, it is known as the world of the ultimate reward. We call this physical world that we live in the world of sheker, lies, because you think that this is the ultimate reality, the physical world, because this is what you can apprehend through your senses. But no, the spiritual world that we cannot see, this is the ultimate reality. And there are levels and levels of reality, as there are levels and levels of connection, or levels and levels of closeness to the divinity, to the Ein Sof, to the Almighty. So a person has always the potential to actualize himself, to actualize herself, to get closer to the divinity, to get closer to the Almighty. And this is what I'm trying to explain based on the words of Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan. B'ezrat Hashem, we will stop right here, and in the next class we are going to study the olamot, the universes that we just mentioned. In the Kabbalah, there are 5 universes that correspond to the 5 levels of the soul. B'ezrat Hashem, in the next class, God willing, next Monday, with the other guys here in the yeshiva that I teach this book. And we will also do the live streaming for those who want to connect, ask questions. You're welcome. I don't know if there's a final question before we say bye until the next class. Thank you so much, Kimberly. Say shalom, Professor Yoel. Shalom, everyone. I just want to say thank you to you and to all of the people who will watch the video. God willing, we're trying to make available for the first time in English to the audience these courses on Kabbalah, on the Kabbalah of Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, because even though certain people could have read this book, but they didn't have someone who explained it for them. Even I don't think this is available in English. I know there's few people who have made 1 or 2 classes here and there, but not really like a whole course, or a like deep analysis and study of the Kabbalistic ideas, Kabbalistic thinking that could change a person's life for good. As always, I say there's higher levels of goodness as well. B'ezrat Hashem, this is my intention with these classes, God willing. Thank you so much, and I send you blessings from the holy city of Jerusalem. B'ezrat Hashem, with God's help, I'll see you in the next class. Shalom.